Today on Straight Talk, I'm pleased to welcome Jerry Kessie. He's the president of Floorcovering Technologies, which is a diversified carpet cleaning and consulting business. I believe inspector fits into that, doesn't it, Jerry?
It's correct. Yeah, I've been an inspector since 91.
91. You're just getting started.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we want to talk about, before we talk about your book, and we can see it on your shelf there, Fuzzy Side Up. This is kind of a book review episode of Straight Talk. So before we do that, though, tell us, what is the life of a flooring inspector really like? You know, we have a lot of carpet cleaners, floor cleaners that watch these segments of Straight Talk. What about inspecting?
Yeah, a lot of the jobs I get are texture retention, the warranties for those, or maintenance related issues. But a good amount of them are still installation related. The seams that fail, carpets that ripple, and so we get those. And then occasionally we get a job like a couple of years ago. We had the Greater Orlando Aviation Authority called me about the Orlando airport, and their carpets weren't lasting usually less 7 years, and they dropped down to a 5-year life cycle, and they want to know why. So I ended up writing the cleaning protocol for 4.2 million square feet of carpet at the Orlando airport. So occasionally you get a nice, interesting job out of it.
Yeah, that sounds cool. What an impact you had there. Let me ask this question. When you're doing inspections, do you find very often that carpet cleaners are to blame for the issue?
Sometimes, mostly it's people don't maintain the carpets right, and when you do the inspection and you're asking them, of course they vacuum every day, and they have it cleaned every other month, but it's not true. But you had to kind of figure out what the problem is, and occasionally in my book there was a job that we got from benzoyl peroxide that the carpet cleaner got blamed for, and we found out that it wasn't his fault. So
you're telling me that customers will not be totally truthful about how often they vacuum or how often they clean the carpet or clean their floors. Really, Jerry? Is that really?
That's true. On occasion, we have had people lie to us, yes.
All right. We know that happens. Well, listen, let's talk about your book, Fuzzy Side Up. Great name. Obviously, probably about mostly carpet, Fuzzy Side Up. What motivated you to write that book?
Well, like I said, we've been doing this since 91, and occasionally we get a good story of an inspection that I did, and Becky long ago quit finding interest in all the polyester inspections I did. So, but occasionally we'll get a good story, and we'll tell friends and family about it. And back in November, jokingly, I posted a mock-up of the book Fuzzy Side Up on my Facebook page, and with the caption, "Maybe one day." And I was surprised within a few hours how many people had liked it and thought it would be a good idea. So I got up 3:30 the next morning and started writing the book. So it came together pretty quickly.
Yeah, all those stories in your head. Tell us a little bit about the content. What are some of your favorite topics in the book that those reading it will look forward to?
Well, one of them that I like that I started out with was I entitled it "The Carpet Never Gets Wet When It Rains," and it was an inspection that the carpet mill had sent me to Bradenton to look at. That was on exterior walkways of a condominium building, and I could tell based on my cleaning experiences, being a carpet cleaner, that it was soiling from where the carpet gets wet when it rains. So to kind of let the supervisor or the maintenance guy know where I was kind of leading, I asked him, I said, "Well, what happens when it rains? Does the carpet ever get wet?" And he says, "No, then the carpet never gets wet." And so he drove off on his golf cart, and here in Florida in the summertime, it rains every day, pretty much every day. And so I just hung around waiting for it to rain, and got pictures for the claims person that the carpet does in fact get wet when it rains in Bradenton, Florida. And I asked the claims manager the next morning, I said, "How many inspectors have you ever hired that would have sat sit around and wait for it to rain?" And she says, "You're the first one that ever waited for it to rain." So we've had a number of jobs like that, and we try to be thorough in our evaluation.
Well, it sounds like people that read this book, Fuzzy Side Up, will get some some good information, some lessons that they can learn from. So good work on that. I noticed in the preface you mentioned influential people who attended your, maybe it was your very first senior inspector class. And in that preface, you mentioned industry icons like Mike West, Jeff Bishop, Carl Williams, Lee and Jim Pemberton, Cliff Zlotnick, and I think all us old timers know who those people are. What was that like to sit
Yeah.
in class with those folks?
Well, it was a highlight for me. And I think the reason there, if I remember why there were so many of the icons of our industry that was there, was ICRC was changing their policy that they were no longer going to grandfather all these inspectors in, and they had to take that class. So that was the last class that people could take before they would actually not be certified or something. And so that's why all those people were there, and I was privileged to be there. And I actually Bob Whitcamp rode with me to the class, so I had quite a bit of time to spend with him, and because he was here in St. Petersburg also. So it was a great class.
But listen, Jerry, great talking to you. People that want to receive Fuzzy Side Up, how do they get that copy from you?
That's pretty easy. I have an email address called jerry@carpetexpert.net. And if you send me an email, it's including the shipping, it's $15, and we'll ship it to you priority mail. And so it's jerry@carpetexpert.net.
Yeah, we'll have that email address at the bottom of the screen for people. So hopefully you'll get a few orders and they'll benefit from your Fuzzy Side Up. And we'll look forward to your next book, whenever that may be.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it.
All right, take care.